And now, we are thrilled to introduce you to our friend, Reverend Tyrone Edwards.
Thank you so much. Y'all make a country boy feel so good. I'm just elated to be here with you all, because Deb and Dave and the Unitarian have been great friends of ours. Matter of fact, I'm probably the only honorary Unitarian Baptist person you know. Yeah, and so it is great to be, and my wife Gail, please stand up. The love of my life. The wind beneath my wing, and truly the better half. Yeah. So I'm so glad that Gail is able to be here, because oftentimes she don't get a chance to travel. But I'm just honored by being here today, and then to actually spend some time at Ben and Debbie's house. Debbie's somebody you just got to love. I mean, she just like stick to you. But I come by to say that our story, and I love this theme, journey to justice, because my life as an African American is a journey for justice. It is a multi-generational journey to justice. But it's not an individual journey to justice, it's a collective journey to justice. And because everything we had to do as a people had to be a collective. But it's a journey that we've been on for a very long time, and a journey that we've been on holding on to our faith, based on faith, hope, and love, have sustained us on this journey. And we have never got weary or tired on this journey, because we understand we came on the shoulders of so many heroes and sheroes whose blood is on the land that we walk on. So we don't have any choice but to stay on this journey. So I'm excited about being here. I've written a book, and I have it downstairs, represent not my journey, but represent Richie's journey. This is about a whole bunch of Richies, Larry, in this book. People don't know what Richie was about. And so I come from a very rural community called Plaquemine Parish, Louisiana. It is the southeast end of Louisiana. It is where the Mississippi connects with the Gulf of Mexico. And this is where some people that most people have forgotten, because there are many people who are like Richard, who made great contribution to our parish. Even though they came as enslaved people, they still made a contribution. And so this book represents that contribution and represent their journey to justice, showing how people who was enslaved came out enslaved and was part of the Reconstruction period, and things they did to open up schools and benevolent association, but always working to making sure that the community was a collective and it was a village. It talked about how people fought in a war and came home to a place and they couldn't register to vote, but they still stood on that journey to justice. It talked about a community of a parish of a man by the name of Perez, who would be Donald Trump's mentor today, but how he was able to break his power because they was on a journey for a collective journey that it was on for justice. And so this book chronicles that justice, because justice is what we all have to attain. But what do justice really look like? Justice is a thing of love. And so when Ben and so many hundreds of volunteers came to our community, one of the questions I would ask everybody at the gate when I meet them: why are you here? What do you expect to get out of here? I know the Lord sent you. We know that because most people's faith, we know the Lord sent you, but what do you expect to get out of it? Because if you don't get anything out of it, it's not worth the journey. And so as Ben and Deb, everybody talk about, is that when you come in and bring your genuine self to a place out of love, people feel love. You can write about love, but the best love is love that is shown to people. And so when Deb and so many other volunteers came to our community, they give people hope. And that's what people needed. They give people to see that in spite of being in a place where nobody knows exists, to have people come from far and near to just give up all of what they have to come to this place, give them encouragement. And I just say this, and I had a conversation with Dave at his house last night, and I didn't know what a Unitarian was all about. And because, y'all got a bad name. I don't know if y'all know that. Black Baptist preacher got a bad name. and I think the Unitarian is next in line. And so I didn't know. I really didn't know, because I met Deb, and I didn't know what Unitarian meant. And so I remember speaking at the General Assembly in St. Louis, Missouri, and I shared with people because obviously people had read about Unitarian and I didn't. So I was ignorant because I had a lot of Baptist preachers, man, why you mess with them Unitarian people? Man, y'all deal with those Unitarian people, And I remember as a preacher, and I'm not going to preach a sermon, but there's a scripture, I think the 9th chapter of John, where Jesus gave a blind man sight. And the folks at that time, because they had a problem with Jesus, like people had a problem with the Unitarian, they was trying to get him to say something bad about Jesus, who gives them sight. People was trying to get me to say something bad about the Unitarian. But I remember that story. Just like that blind man, I said, only thing I know, we needed help, and they came and they give us help. And I'm thankful, and we're thankful for the Unitarian Universalist, for the work that they've done. And so again, I'm excited about being here. I'm committed. I don't have no choice but being committed to justice. For the last 50 years of my life, I've been doing this work. I'm doing racism workshop throughout the United States, been doing it for 30 years. But one of the things I love about this work, and the older I get, the more enthusiastic I get. And even in the midst of the Donald Trump era, people asking, why are you still excited? Why? How can you be excited doing that? I said, because I remember Tricky Dick Nixon. I remember a whole bunch of other people that came before him. But one of the things that really helped me, there was this incident in Charleston, Virginia that everybody talk about. Y'all, Charlottesville, that's what it is? That was the most exciting event in my life. I was so excited about that event. And even though that person died, but what I was excited about, because my organization, the People Institute, Jim Dunn say, I'm looking for a day and time when 10 white people would take a stand against injustice with no person of color around them, or 50. Well, Charlottesville, I saw that. I saw white people taking a stand against injustice because it was the right thing to do. And so in spite of how people talk about it, it gave me a lot of hope because it tells me we got to. When Obama got reelected the second time, it gave me a lot of hope. And so if we as the beloved community continue to do that kind of work, future generation will come behind us, be hopeful. And I'm going to leave you with this story. I'm 66, and I learned this story when I was 17 years of age, of a man in China that would go to the foot of the mountain every morning with a shovel, and he would dig all day long. And young and old will come to him all day long and say, foolish old man, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to move this mountain. Foolish old man, you can't move this mountain. He said, I'm going to dig, and my children are going to dig, and I'm going to move this mountain. So every time I come around people who for justice, on the journey for justice, I know I'm on the road with a whole bunch of more shovels. Thank you so much for this opportunity.